Paris Agreement is just the start of a much-needed revolution, the one of a low-carbon economy. While this agreement represents a collective vision of almost 200 nations, its implementation is still being discussed through rules and procedures here at COP22. But today what we want to talk about is climate finance, one of the key aspects to implement the Paris Agreement. Since the Paris Agreement entered into force, one of the key commitments of developed countries is to continue reporting every 2 years how much finance they intend to provide for developing countries. Starting in 2020, $100 billion American dollars must be on track to assist the most vulnerable countries to act on climate change.
COP22 is a COP for action. So that's very important for the international community to support that the country's effort to implement their NDC or how to translate their NDC.
Shockingly, recent research by IIED shows that only 8% of the international public finance committed up to 2015 has actually been dispersed.
Tracking climate finance is at the core of a global deal on climate change. This is especially important for the least developed countries, who have pressing needs when complying with international rules.
LDCs need financial and technical support for a number of activities, such as development of plans and strategies for adaptation and mitigation, translating those plans into bankable and impactful projects that meet the investment criteria of the financing institution, financial engineering, especially when it comes to using new financial instruments, enhance the science basis of our projects, especially for adaptation, vulnerability assessment, data collection, feasibility and impact studies, capacity building, enhancing the environment for technology development and transfer, and for innovation, experience and knowledge sharing. Finally, development of national transparency frameworks.
To assist with the climate revolution, international funds were created to facilitate compliance and enhance transparency of international agreements. The recently established Green Climate Fund is thus an essential partner of the Global Environment Facility in bringing talks to action.
As the operating entities of the UNFCCC financial mechanism, it's imperative that the GCF and the GEF work well together, and they're complementary of their respective work and not duplicative of their work. And it makes sense for the GEF and the GCF to engage with other climate finance delivery channels, for example the CIFs, the Climate Investment Funds, the Adaptation Fund, or the MDBs, the Multilateral Development Banks, to ensure we are all working in concert.
For me, the GEF is really to serve countries through grant-based schemes, while the GCF should experiment and try to see where there's appetite for private sector engagement to come in and crowd in and try to create some opportunities for co-financing and leverage even some of the GCF money.
To me, it has been really a challenge to explore the complementarity while the GCF is a bit of struggling to identify their business model. Now the GCF is up and running, the Secretariat has new head, so that it's really a time, and the two boards, GCF board and the GEF Council are very much committed to explore this complementarity. So this is really the way to go. And I think that we were totally equally committed